Hello everyone. Welcome to Fast Track on Herald Global. I am Saimik Sen. Joining us today a very renowned psychiatrist and actor, Dr. Meenacshi Martins.
Fate entertainment.
Thank you so much for taking out this time for us. Welcome to Herald Global.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me for this interview. My pleasure.
To begin with, I would like to ask you, your parents were freedom fighters. So what was their influence upon you?
Since my parents and all their peers were freedom fighters as I grew up, I guess, these people had great standards of living, great sense of their sacrifice and ethics and morality. And as you grow amongst them, it rubs off on you. So it becomes a part of your personality and your characteristics.
How does your education background of psychology students help you in getting into characters?
Well, actually, I don't think that influenced my characters in acting. I think it was the other way around. Because I was acting since my childhood, I think that somehow influenced me to look into psychological medicine after I finished my degree in medicine and take up psychiatry, So because I was so fascinated by the different aspects of personalities amongst us.
So you have acted in Marathi plays and films. What are the challenges that an artist faces while working on stage?
You have to overcome your stage fear, and you learn a lot of things on the stage. I'm not a trained actor, I'm a doctor by profession. Yes, and acting has been in my life from my childhood. I come from Goa. And in Goa, there is theater, music, like as we say, ghar ghar mein, like every household will have some kind of instrument or a passion for singing or theater, whatever. So I come from that kind of a background. And so it wasn't a very big challenge for me, except that as a girl back then, as a student, I didn't have any mode of transport. So I had to depend a lot on other people to pick me and drop me. And, you may be aware that theater rehearsals go well into, the wee hours of the morning. Sure. So that's a big challenge for a girl in this industry, in theater, and even in cinema or now the web series, is the safety. The safety of women at the workplace in any industry that involves, late nights or, work till early in the morning. So, but I think I had very nice colleagues and peers, and I was well protected. So I didn't face much of a challenge. Maybe the only challenge was learning the various dialects of Marathi and Konkani and to perform in that. So that was a little bit challenging. And I think I did well in that department.
So you acted in Hindi teleserials like Zuban Samal Ke, Bumkesh Bakshi, Rajni. So how was the experience?
Oh, it was great. Before that, I did cinema. And then I had very small children, so I could not, afford to travel out of Bombay back then. So I opted for television because it was closer to home. And it was a lot of fun. I couldn't practice medicine, of course. So I chose to, work in television because I had to continue acting. Acting is like food and oxygen for a actor. So I chose that, and it was a lot of fun. I met very, very talented, very senior actors during that period. And it was hugely satisfying.
You have played, multiple roles. Okay, you have been acting, then you're a doctor. So how did you manage both the professions?
Yeah, it's slightly difficult doing that. But I did manage. And then I took a long break when I could not manage. For 14 long years, I took a break to raise my sons. I've got twins. And during that time, I only practiced medicine and didn't do acting. And that time I did a lot of social service. I was on Women's Commission, Child Welfare Committees, and several other state level committees. And so I did balance out my life, I think. to a certain extent.
You have got various awards like Rang Samman by Goa Kala Academy. Okay, please share your experience.
Well, Ranga Samman has been awarded to me by my peers, for which I'm extremely honored and grateful. It's always great to be honored by your peers, and especially in the field of media and performing arts. I won that award for I believe, my contribution to theatre when I was acting in theatre way back in Goa. I won a lot of state and awards for the state of Maharashtra as well as for Goa, of course. And so it was in that context, I was told that I uplifted the movement of experimental theatre back then. And so I was honored by my colleagues, which was beautiful. And I greatly appreciate that.
Does this kind of accolades help you in your field of work?
I don't think so. It does help in the sense it boosts your, sort of existence in that particular field, but not as far as getting work or getting more interesting characters or roles is. I don't think that helps much.
As a psychiatrist, do you think there are certain stigmas still exist in today's time in terms of people?
Well, it does. Yeah, it does. It does, but the awareness being created for the mental health issues at the moment is so high that I am sought on the internet. They look for the psychiatrist closest to me, and I have a lot of children or youth, teenagers and in the 20s coming to me all on their own without their parents, and it's a very nice thing to happen that they are breaking the stigma.
Okay.
They seek me for their own well-being, and if they have a doubt, if they suspect that they are in depression or they have substance abuse issues or they have relationship failures or financial issues, they drop by. And I have a policy that if it's a child and a non-working housewife, I do not charge. So
Okay.
in support, they won't come back for follow-up there. If they have to be a financial burden on the earning member of the family. So I don't want that. I want them to pursue their, mental health, the whole regime of treatment or therapy, and complete that without being a burden on anyone else. So that is something I have been doing for the last almost 35 years.
Okay, so we are still going through this pandemic for the last 1.5 years. How was your experience? How did you deal with it?
Most of the psychiatrists in Goa volunteered to be on the internet online panel for psychiatrists being made available through the video conferencing, telephones, WhatsApps, what have you. And in the initial stages when the lockdown was put in March, April, May, June, July, I think were the worst hit months. And we used to get a lot of calls, a lot of WhatsApps, and I just don't manage this. I belong to the senior citizen category who doesn't understand technology very well. But I used to have the video conferencing on the WhatsApp or the video calls or whatever you call them. And I spoke to a lot of young people across the country. I had volunteered in 3 languages. So like I got people from Northern India as well, right? From Kashmir, Punjab, UP, Madhya Pradesh. And they all had the same issue of loneliness, of being locked down, and their depression had increased. And most of them were on medical, the mental health care. And they were cut off from their doctors, they were cut off from the OPDs, or they could not access the medicines. So these were the common issues back then.
During this lockdown, as you just mentioned, most of the people are sitting at home. And this is, of course, creating some kind of a depression. So can you suggest some measures through which they can deal with the depression?
Well, I think right now we have all come out of that. And as far as depression is concerned, if it is a clinical depression and if the person has been diagnosed and the person is already on treatment, then I would suggest that you follow up on your treatment regime, very carefully and under the guidance of your psychiatrist, because all the psychiatrists are now available on phone or on WhatsApp. And we do make that extra effort to be available to our patients at all times if need be. Also, if there is necessity, then counseling is also available online. So you can avail of any counselor across the country and or your own locality, and you can either have counseling for a fee, or you can have, there are free counseling sessions available in certain areas. You can avail of that also. But the most important part is that you take action. You find something that is interesting. Like I started, plants, collecting plants and swapping plants across the country. So you have to find your niche hobby, which you can, keep you occupied or can keep you engaged and keep you satisfied during this difficult times. It's a very difficult time for people who don't have anyone or who can't relate to other people, who are not having access to mental health facilities. But these are the little things you can do: breathing exercises, reading books, whether it's online or you have lots of Kindle and other stuff you can read books on. So you can engage in that, watch movies. We did that. And generally find something that you find interesting, which you can do within the four walls of your home.
So you have worked in teleserials already, and now you know that there is a shift to the OTT platform. Okay, people are watching a lot of OTT platforms. So what do you have to say about it? Like, how is this changed?
I think that is wonderful. I mean, then now we have the world is our audience, right? I mean, I have done 2 projects for Netflix, and I'm very thrilled about it. And I did Typewriter and Feels Like Ish. So it had a wider audience. People all over the world can see these programs. You can just send the links, and you can always say it's on either Prime or it's on Netflix or some other. I've just booked for 2, so Netflix and Prime, but mostly on 2 on Netflix. So it's very nice, and it's a wonderful thing that has happened. So we don't now look back and say, we used to work on this and that, and you have to move with life. And I don't know whether it's progress or not, but it's a change. It's a paradigm shift, and we have to embrace what comes and be happy with what we have.
Sure. What are your upcoming projects?
Well, right now there are every time I start something, COVID comes, and there is a
lot of
lockdown.
change in plan.
So I can't discuss any of my projects because nothing has been finalized. Everything that was to happen in Jan has moved to March now. So we are still in talks, and schedules have got all messed up. So I can't say anything for sure. But yeah, there are certain projects that are going to happen very soon.
Okay. How has the digitalization of movies helped in cinema industry?
Well, I think there is a better market. Films that were in the cold storage are being revived now. Recently, I have done some cinema in the regional languages like Konkani and Marathi. And earlier, they would have a run in the theater and then they would go into the cold storage. But now, you can always show it on various channels, or people have started their own channels, and pay per view kind of a thing is going on. And people can watch these films long after they have had their run in theaters. So that is a very nice thing to have happen. So they are available all the time, and it's good that we get to see other cinema also. It's a open market these days
for everybody now. My last question to you: what is your message to the aspiring actors, especially in this difficult time?
Yeah, in these difficult times. Okay, first and foremost, believe in yourself, believe in your dream. Yes, acting is a profession, of course. There is certain amount of training involved in that. So use this time to train yourself, watch other people's performances, watch good projects, good cinema or good web series from across the world, not only India, not only this, that, or the other, but variety of projects are happening, and we get to see them on various channels. So acquaint yourself with all those. Acquaint yourself with the productions, with the actors, their performances. Everybody has a different style. Everybody has learned from different schools all over the world. And it's very interesting to see that in large web series, you have extremely highly qualified actors. If you go and see their background, they are very highly qualified people in their respective, performing arts. And so you can learn a lot that way. You have to read a lot. And most importantly, you have to develop your own personality and character. You have to be true to yourself. You have to learn the languages and the dictions, and the ability to say your dialogues properly, and whichever language you're planning to work in, and be truthful to what you are and who you are. That's most important.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Martins. It was lovely talking to you.